Let's get right into it. Number 10. The protein poverty trap. There is a weird myth that unless you are trying to look like a professional bodybuilder with veins in places veins shouldn't be, you don't need much protein. This is a lie told to you by your own laziness. Your body is in a constant state of remodeling. Every second, you are tearing down old tissues and building new ones. Protein is the lumber for this project. If you don't eat enough of it, your body doesn't just stop building, it starts scavenging from itself. It looks at your muscles, including the ones that hold your face up, and says, well, we need amino acids for the heart, so let's just melt down this bicep and a bit of the jawline. This leads to sarcopenia, which is the scientific term for your muscles turning into sad, jiggly gelatin. This loss of muscle mass is one of the primary drivers of looking old. It changes your posture, slows your metabolism to a crawl, and makes your skin hang off your frame like an oversized suit. Furthermore, collagen, the stuff that keeps your skin from looking like a crumpled paper bag, is a protein. If you aren't consuming the building blocks to make it, your body isn't going to prioritize your vanity over your internal organs. You'll end up with crepey skin and joints that pop like bubble wrap every time you stand up. You aren't getting old, you're literally being used as a hardware store for your own vital functions because you decided a bagel was a sufficient lunch. Your body is a masterpiece under constant renovation, but you're providing the contractors with nothing but wet toothpicks and a prayer. Number 9. The vitamin D hide and seek. You are essentially a very complicated, slightly anxious houseplant with a smartphone. Just like a ficus, you need sunlight to keep your structural integrity from collapsing into a heap of sadness. However, modern life has us living like subterranean mole people, scurrying from our indoor cubicles to our indoor living rooms, rarely seeing the sun unless it's through a triple-paned, UV-protected window. This creates a massive deficiency in vitamin D, a nutrient that is less of a vitamin and more of a hormone that runs the entire show behind the scenes. Without enough of it, your bones start to lose their density, your immune system goes on an indefinite strike, and your DNA repair mechanisms start taking extended lunch breaks. Vitamin D is the foreman of the construction site that is your body. Without him, the workers just stand around dropping bricks and forgetting where the support beams go. This leads to what scientists call biological weathering, which is a polite way of saying you're rusting from the inside out. You might think you're fine because you're not getting rickets, but low-level deficiency means your cells aren't regenerating at the rate they should, leaving you with the tired eyes and achiness of someone 20 years your senior. We've spent thousands of years evolving under the sun, only to spend the last 50 years hiding from it like vampires with tax debt. Your skin needs that ultraviolet nudge to manufacture the stuff that keeps your telomeres from fraying like a cheap rope. Without it, your internal clock gets wonky, your mood tanks, and you basically start looking like a piece of parchment left in a damp basement. Number 8. The electrolyte ego trip. If your body is a high-performance electric vehicle, electrolytes are the literal sparks that make the engine turn over. But most people treat electrolytes like something only marathon runners or people with severe stomach flu need to worry about. In reality, you are a walking bag of salty water, and the balance of sodium, potassium, and magnesium is what keeps your cells from collapsing like a souffle in a thunderstorm. Most of us are drowning in sodium thanks to the miracle of processed snacks, while being catastrophically deficient in potassium. This imbalance creates a sort of internal pressure cooker. When your potassium levels are in the gutter, your cells can't properly regulate fluid, leading to that puffy, I ate a whole pizza by myself look that lingers for days. This isn't just about bloating, it's about cellular exhaustion. Your heart, which is just a very hard-working muscle that never gets a vacation, requires a precise ratio of these minerals to keep its rhythm. When you mess with the ratio, you're essentially asking your heart to play a complex drum solo while wearing oven mitts. This stress manifests as premature aging of the cardiovascular system and skin that looks dull and deflated. You're not just missing a nutrient, you're missing the electrical conductivity that keeps your face from sagging toward the Earth's core. It's like trying to run a supercomputer on a dying AA battery. Sure, it might technically be on, but the screen is flickering and you're pretty sure you smell smoke. Number 7. The fiber ghost town. Your gut is currently home to trillions of bacteria that are either your best friends or a disgruntled mob planning a coup. The determining factor is fiber. Most people treat fiber as an optional accessory like a decorative scarf, when it is actually the structural steel of your digestive health. When you stop eating fiber, your gut microbiome becomes a desolate wasteland, and the good bacteria start to starve. In their desperation, they actually begin to eat the protective lining of your mucous membranes, which is a horrifying image to carry around. This leads to systemic inflammation, the ultimate accelerant for aging. Inflammation is like a slow-moving fire in the walls of your house. You might not see the flames, but the wallpaper is peeling and the foundation is cracking. Without fiber to sweep out the biological trash, toxins hang around in your system longer than they're welcome, making your skin look like a topographical map of a swamp. We've traded whole grains and leafy greens for beige foods that have been processed until they have the nutritional value of a cardboard box. This leaves your digestive tract sluggish and your energy levels swinging wildly like a pendulum in a hurricane. You end up with sugar crashes that trigger cortisol spikes, and cortisol is basically liquid aging. It breaks down collagen, thins your skin, and makes you look like you've been through a particularly grueling war, even if you've just been sitting on the couch watching baking competitions. Your gut is screaming for a salad, but you keep giving it white bread, and it's expressing its displeasure by making you look 10 years older than your birth certificate says you are. Number 6. The Great Hydration Hallucination. Imagine your brain is a high-end vintage grape. It's plump, it's juicy, and it's functioning at peak capacity. Now imagine you decide to stop watering that grape and instead subject it to the metabolic equivalent of a blow dryer. This is essentially what happens when you treat thirst as a suggestion rather than a biological ultimatum. Most of us walk around in a state of semi-permanent, low-grade dehydration, treating our bodies like a succulent that can survive on a misting once a month. But here's the kicker: your brain is about 75% water, and when you're even slightly dehydrated, that grape starts looking and acting like a raisin. Your cognitive functions begin to stutter, your skin loses its bounce-back elasticity, and you start developing the fine lines of a Victorian ghost. The real tragedy here is that your body is terrible at communicating its needs. Often when your brain is screaming for a glass of water, your stomach translates that as, "I absolutely need a bag of salty pretzels right now." So you eat the salt, which sucks more water out of your cells, and suddenly you're aging at triple speed because you're essentially curing yourself like a piece of artisanal ham. By the time you actually feel thirsty, your cellular machinery is already grinding its gears and throwing sparks. You aren't just tired, you're literally wilting. Your blood gets thicker, which is a fun thought, making your heart work harder to pump that sludge through your veins, leading to a general look of, "I haven't slept since the Eisenhower administration." Basically, you're turning into a human prune because you think water is too boring to drink without a squirt of artificial lime. Number 5. The healthy fat phobia. For decades, we were told that fat was the enemy, a nutritional villain lurking in the shadows to clog our arteries and ruin our beach photos. This led to an entire generation of people eating low-fat snacks that were basically just compressed sugar and sadness. The reality is that your brain is nearly 60% fat, and every single cell in your body is encased in a membrane made of lipids. When you cut out healthy fats, like the ones found in avocados, nuts, and oily fish, you are essentially stripping the insulation off your electrical wires. Your skin, which relies on these fats to maintain its moisture barrier, starts to look like a desert floor during a drought. You lose that glow and replace it with a texture that can only be described as aggressively matte. But it's worse than just aesthetics. Your brain needs those omega-3 fatty acids to keep the neural pathways firing efficiently. Without them, you get brain fog, which is just a fancy way of saying your thoughts are trying to swim through a pool of maple syrup. This lack of lubrication leads to cognitive decline that makes you feel and act much older than you are. You start forgetting where you put your keys, why you walked into a room, and eventually how to have a personality. You're essentially starving your most vital organs of their favorite fuel because you're still traumatized by a 1990s food pyramid. If you want to keep your internal machinery from seizing up like a rusty lawnmower, you need to stop treating olive oil like it's liquid poison. Number 4, the sugar-coated suicide sugar is not just a treat. It's a molecular wrecking ball. When you consume high amounts of the white stuff, your body goes through a process called glycation. This sounds like something that happens in a cool chemistry lab, but in reality, it's your body caramelizing itself from the inside. Sugar molecules attach themselves to your protein fibers, specifically collagen and elastin, and turn them into advanced glycation end products, which fittingly spells out ages. These ages make your once flexible skin fibers stiff, brittle, and prone to snapping. It's like taking a brand new rubber band and leaving it in the sun until it cracks when you pull it. This is why sugar face is a real thing: puffiness, deep wrinkles, and a loss of facial contour. But the damage isn't just skin deep. Sugar triggers massive spikes in insulin, which sends your hormones into a tailspin and creates a state of chronic oxidative stress. Your mitochondria, the little power plants in your cells, start throwing off exhaust in the form of free radicals, which go around bruising your DNA and smashing up your cellular machinery. You're essentially putting high-octane racing fuel into a minivan and wondering why the engine is melting. Every time you indulge in that extra-large, double-syrup, whipped cream-topped monstrosity of a coffee, you're basically inviting a tiny riot to take place in your bloodstream. Your body is frantically trying to clean up the mess while your skin is slowly turning into a piece of stiff, sugary jerky. Number 3. The Magnesium Vanishing Act. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body, which is a lot for one mineral to handle. It's the chill pill of the nutrient world, helping your muscles relax, your brain shut off at night, and your heart maintain a steady beat. Unfortunately, thanks to modern farming stripping the soil and our penchant for filtered water that has everything removed, most of us are running on empty. When you're low on magnesium, your body stays in a state of high alert. Your muscles are tense, your stress response is dialed up to 11, and your sleep quality becomes absolute garbage. Sleep is the only time your body truly repairs itself. It's like a nightly system restore and deep clean. Without magnesium to facilitate that rest, you're essentially skipping the maintenance cycle. You wake up looking like you've been hit by a truck, with dark circles and a dull complexion that no amount of concealer can fix. Over time, this lack of repair leads to accelerated biological aging. Your cells are tired, your DNA is fraying, and your nervous system is as frayed as a cheap extension cord. You become irritable, your blood pressure creeps up, and you generally start to resemble a person who has forgotten how to experience joy. It's a quiet, invisible deficiency that slowly drains the color from your life and the firmness from your skin. You're basically a high-strung violin string that's about to snap, all because you're missing a mineral that's found in spinach and pumpkin seeds, but you'd rather eat another fortified breakfast bar. Number 2. The antioxidant apathy. Imagine your body is a pristine metal statue. Now imagine that every time you breathe, eat, or walk outside, a tiny bit of acid rain falls on that statue. This acid rain is oxidative stress caused by free radicals, unstable molecules that want to steal electrons from your healthy cells. Antioxidants are the shield that protects the statue. When you stop eating colorful fruits and vegetables, you're essentially throwing away the shield and inviting the rust to take over. Most of us eat a diet that is suspiciously monochromatic. Lots of browns, yellows, and beiges. This beige diet is a death sentence for your youthful glow. Without phytonutrients like lycopene, lutein, and anthocyanins, your skin has no internal defense against UV damage and pollution. You end up with age spots and a leathery texture that suggests you've spent the last decade living on the surface of the sun. But it's not just your face. Oxidative stress eats away at your brain cells and your blood vessels, leading to the kind of internal decay that makes you feel stiff and heavy. You're essentially oxidizing, literally rusting, because you think blueberries are too expensive or kale tastes like sadness. Your cells are out there fighting a war against environmental toxins with nothing but a plastic fork for protection, while you ignore the colorful produce section like it's a contemporary art museum you don't understand. You're letting the free radicals win, and they're celebrating by carving lines into your forehead. Number 1. The micronutrient monopoly. We have become a society that is overfed but undernourished. We consume vast quantities of calories, but we are starving for the tiny, microscopic helpers that make life possible. This is the micronutrient monopoly, where your body has to decide which vital function gets the tiny amount of zinc or selenium you accidentally consumed in a multivitamin 3 days ago. When you don't provide a steady stream of diverse micronutrients, your body enters survival mode. It prioritizes the things that keep you alive, like your lungs and heart, and completely abandons the cosmetic stuff. Your hair thins, your nails become brittle, and your skin loses its ability to repair wounds or stay hydrated. This is the ultimate aging mistake. Thinking that fuel, calories, is the same thing as nutrition. You're building a house out of gold-plated junk mail. It looks shiny from a distance, but the moment a light breeze hits, the whole thing topples over. This chronic scarcity of vitamins and minerals leads to a state of subclinical illness where you don't feel sick, but you definitely don't feel well. You're just existing. Your metabolic rate drops, your hormones go haywire, and your body's ability to detoxify itself vanishes. You are essentially a high-tech machine being maintained with duct tape and wishful thinking. By the time you reach your 30s or 40s, the cumulative effect of these tiny nutrient thefts makes you look like a weathered gargoyle. You've spent years saving on nutrition, only to pay the debt back in the form of premature wrinkles and a general sense of physical exhaustion. Basically, your body is filing for bankruptcy, and your face is the first asset it's liquidating. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.